Hi guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of No Blurred Lines, Rape Culture in American Television. If you are here, then I am assuming that you want to know about rape culture and how it affects the TV that you're watching. This episode in particular is more about what rape culture is and why that even matters to us. If you're wanting something more like, what does my favorite TV show say about rape culture, check below into the description where I will have a playlist, because the subsequent episodes will be more like that. Let's start off by defining what rape culture is. Rape culture is a society that normalizes and trivializes rape. It excuses rape and assault, often blaming the victim and getting the perpetrator off without really any blame at all. Rape culture doesn't condone rape or say that it's a good thing, but it does look for excuses as to why it happened and rarely puts the blame on the person that deserves it, which is the rapist. It works to create a society that doesn't particularly care about the assault and thinks that the victim is the one to blame. This is the type of society that we live in. You can't really understand how it permeates society unless you understand that basic fact, that it's everywhere and in everything, and therefore affects everything. You see the effects of it all the time, and usually without noticing. It's perpetuated whenever a kid loses a basketball game and says, man, they totally raped us. Or you hear about a girl who was raped and you hear people muttering, ooh, well, she was drinking and flirting a lot. It's songs like Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines teaches you that consent is optional and that the lines are blurred. Or songs like Maroon 5's Animals that calls women the prey and men the predator that they have to hunt. Songs like those link sexuality and violence as interchangeable options. A feminist writer that I like called Melissa McEwen said that rape culture is regarding violence as sexy and sexuality as violence. Rape culture is treating rape like a compliment, an unabridged passion. And that really is how we see it a lot of the times. While we know that there's not one thing that keeps rape culture in our society, I do believe that television is one of the bigger perpetrators. When I started this project, people would ask me, well, why does that matter to you? My own family would sit me down and ask me if I had been assaulted because I cared so much about people being raped, which I think in and of itself is obviously anecdotal evidence, but evidence nonetheless that we as a culture and a society need to care about things even when they don't directly affect us. FBI says that 1 in 3 women in their lifetime will be raped, and 1 in 6 men. So yeah, it does affect all of us. Even if you yourself are one of those lucky 2/3, you're gonna know more than 2 women in your life. So you're gonna know someone that, statistically speaking, has been assaulted. And based off the number of assaults, we can probably guarantee that you're gonna meet someone who did the assaulting. So we need to care about this, not just because it's a really scary thing that infiltrates our culture, but because we're allowing it to become normalized and trivialized. So let's look at why and how rape culture stays so prevalent. We have to look at where we're getting these opinions from, these opinions that feed the rape myths. Rape myths are really the answer as to how they keep being perpetuated. We believe things, and because we believe these things, even if they're not true, we don't push back on them. These are things like, if a girl drinks too much or dresses a certain way, she deserves it. People lie about it for attention. Only women can get raped. These things that a lot of people believe, even though they're not true. To debunk those really briefly, 1, if you're drunk, you can't give consent. That's not only the legal aspect of it, but like common sense. If you're unconscious or you're drunk, you just can't. 2, actually, the amount of people who lie about getting raped are the same as any other crime. You can look on the FBI website just to see that it's between 2 and 8%, which is literally the same as anything else, including petty theft. And also, you don't get good attention when you admit to being raped. You're often blamed. Your family, your friends, your community often turn against you, and reputation is torn to shreds. You don't really have to look any farther than the Stanford rape case of how the CNN reporters repeatedly mourned the loss of life for the rapist and how it was really going to ruin their careers, and never said anything about Jane Doe. And thirdly, the myth that men can't be raped is just like so wrong. Anyone can be raped. Rape is not about sex, it's about violence, and anyone can be violent and anyone can be a victim. It's a myth. Rape myths are how rape culture remains. So when you ask yourself, why do we still believe these rape myths even though they're not true? You have to look at how we are socialized. I think that we know that we get a lot of our information and our opinions from mass media. We get a lot of our opinions and our thoughts from TV. We spend a lot of time watching TV. Back in 2016, there was a study done that said Americans on average 11 hours with a device. That's excluding texting, talking, and taking selfies. I talk and I text and I take selfies a lot. If I'm adding 11 hours of additional screen time on top of that, so if we're watching anything that much, we can just accept that it's going to be influencing the way that we think. Culture provides the overall framework in which we imagine what we do not encounter directly and interpret what we do encounter directly. It influences us, usually without us even knowing it. It creeps into our subconscious to the fact that I dressed like Buffy Summers in high school for 4 years and had all sorts of parents not like me because of my thigh-high boots. So, now, I've been writing about this for years. And I've had many professors, and I have had many friends, and I know the argument that you are thinking. And it's, shouldn't we be allowed to express whatever we want to express, especially in our media? Don't comics and writers have a duty to report on what really happens, and doesn't rape really happen? Shouldn't we have freedom of speech? Yeah, fine. Just because you want to talk about something doesn't mean you have to do it in a dangerous way. There are plenty of shows. There are some shows that handle rape or assault in really good ways. Honest and truthful, and as non-damaging as including a rape scene can be. And then there are shows that include it in a horrific way, that romanticize or sexualize it and trivialize it in the minds of the viewers. I can't believe I'm about to bring up the show I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to lose all my credibility, but ABC Family's Secret Diary of an American Teenager. This show did something that I think is really good. It knew its target audience, preteens and teenagers, like young people, and particularly young girls, and it didn't shy away from the subjects that it wanted to talk about, but at the end of each episode, they would have the actors come on and do like a PSA where they're like, hey, you know how these characters like had unprotected sex and got pregnant? Don't do that. Like, talk to your mom or your school counselor and like buy a condom or something. I think that's like a really good way to balance the responsibility you have with desire to have whatever content you want. Like, obviously that might not work for all shows, but for shows where your target audience is so young and you know that they're going to be influenced by what you're saying, yeah, like, take responsibility for what you're putting out there in the world. To sum up, rape culture is real. It's perpetuated through rape myths. And the way that rape myths are perpetuated are through our media mostly, particularly television. If you want to talk about rape or assault, don't sexualize it and respect your audience. I think that's everything that I wanted to say. You could also click on my blog, where I will be writing a post for each episode that's a little bit more detailed and has a little bit more like theoretical and like academic aspect to it. Read it, please, because I did work on it. It's good. Do you like really opinionated girls who care about TV and media theory exclusively? Yes? Then read my blog. Like, subscribe, comment, bell me. That's a thing, right? I'm current, I'm hip. Who knows? I think that's it. Bye.